So pleasant morning to all of us. I'm Jessica P. Jasa, taking the course BTLED Major in Home Economics in the subject of clothing construction. So within this video, I'll be showing you on how I sew a peasant sleeve and a hidden pocket. So within this video, you'll be able to know the patterns and on how to make this type of clothing standards. So the importance in knowing what are these type of sleeves and hidden pockets or pockets I should say is for us to choose the right style in making clothes. So let us now begin.
So this is what a peasant sleeve looks like. So at the end part, which is the wrist, it has a garter. So the tools that we need to use in drafting the pattern is a draft paper, ruler, pencil, and a measuring tape. So in drafting the pattern, I measured first the edge of my shoulder, which I started at the shoulder seam of my shirt until at my wrist. Next is my upper arm. I measured it and added 2 inches so that it will have an excess. So the measurement of my shoulder until at my wrist is 24 inches. And for my upper arm, the measurement is 11 inches and I added 2 inches. And lastly is my wrist, which is 6 inches. I then started cutting the draft paper and this is what it looks like. After cutting, I put it on top of the fabric to use. I used a bell pin to make sure that the draft paper does not move when cutting the fabric. I then cut the fabric with a 2-inch seam allowance. So it is now time for sewing. So what I did first is I put a bell pin at the cap and at the sleeve hem because this will serve as the guide when I will be sewing it. So I cut the excess fabric at the hem lines to have a neater and cleaner look. So this is what it would look like when I flip it outside. As you can see, it is very clean and no damage visible. So the next thing that I did was at the wrist. So I fold at the wrist part with a 2 of an inch and sew it. So I used a bell pin in order to have a straight sewing because this serves as the guide. Since it is my second time in using a sewing machine. So this is where you are able to insert the elastic or garter. So I used a safety pin in both edges of the elastic or garter and I inserted it inside the fabric. So this is what it will look like. So I overlap both of the ends and sew it together. So I rearrange the elastic to make it lay flat. And it is done. So this is the final outcome of my sewing project, which is a peasant sleeve. It may not be as good as the picture I presented a while ago, but I think this was a good start since it is my first time in sewing a piece of fabric that turned into a sleeve. So next, we are going to sew a hidden pocket. So the materials needed is a scissor, fabric, ruler, and tailor's chalk, and also the measuring tape. So I'll be using 3 fabric. So the 2 has the same measurement, 6 width and 8 inches of length. I then mark at the interfacing side. So the measurement is 4 inches of width and 0.6 inch of length and divided at the middle. On the other fabric, I mark it also the same with the other one. So what I did is to use a bell pin and match them together. I then started sewing at the edges of the rectangle, and when I was done sewing the sides of it, I then cut through the middle point and mark a diagonal shape at the side. Once it is done, I then transfer the cloth at the other side. So this is what it should look like already. So I flatten it to make a cleaner look. So the next thing I did is to fold over so the edge will meet the opening ends, and then I started sewing it at the side which has a diagonal shape, which is the small part only, and you must do it at the same with the other side. Once it is done, this should be the outcome. So I used the same size fabric and place it on top. I used a marker to mark the correct size of the pocket, and then I sew it carefully. So I trim off the excess fabric because it is way cleaner and neater. So it is done. So this is the final outcome of what I made, which is a hidden pocket. So you are able to put it inside of your jacket. So that is why it is a hidden pocket. This is not visible to the outside.
Okay, so that is how I make a peasant sleeve and a hidden pocket. So I hope this video helped you a lot, and I hope you understood my explanation and as well as my demonstration. Thank you for watching.